Tonight's message is titled, When All You Have Is God. The Bible says in Job chapter 19, My kinsfolk have failed, and my familiar friends have forgotten me. They that dwell in mine house and my maids count me for a stranger. I am an alien in their sight. I called my servant, and he gave me no answer. I entreated him with my mouth. My breath is strange to my wife, though I entreated for the children's sake of mine own body. Yea, young children despised me. I arose, and they spake against me. All my inward friends abhorred me, and they whom I loved are turned against me. My bone cleaveth to my skin and to my flesh, and I am escaped with the skin of my teeth. Have pity upon me, O ye my friends, for the hand of God hath touched me. Why do you persecute me as God, and are not satisfied with my flesh? Oh, that my words were now written. Oh, that they were printed in a book, that they were graven with an iron pen and lead in the rock forever. We read here in Job chapter 19 about Job's complaint and how he prayed that God would hear him. But he complains here of how those whom were supposed to be his friends and they who were supposed to be his family, his loved ones, have turned against him. It was as if all that Job had was God. All that Job had was God alone. He didn't have any friends. He didn't have any family. He lost everything. He lost his children. He lost his riches. And all that he had was God. The Bible says, Yea, young children despised me. I arose, and they spake against me. All my inward friends abhorred me, and they whom I loved are turned against me. It says that all my inward friends abhorred me. All of his friends hated him. All of his friends turned against him. He had nobody in this world. My friend, when all that you have is God, you have all that you need. I think about a recent story I read about this Jewish family in New York. And I believe what happened was a family of 7 children perished in the flames of a house fire. I believe the mother survived, but all her children, all 7 of her children, boys and girls ranging from ages 2 to 15, they all perished in the flames. They died. She lost them all. This happened just a few days ago, and she survived. My friends, how can you endure such a tragedy? How can you go through such a loss? I don't know how you can possibly do it. My friend, when all that you have is God, you have all that you need. Some of us have more than what we need. Some of us have more that we know what to do with. And when we do that, we often will forget God. I think Job was put in a place where he was reminded that, look, when you're lost, when you're down and out and you have nobody there, you have somebody who you can hold on to, somebody who is your friend, somebody who will not abhor you, somebody who will always love you. The Bible says, all my inward friends abhorred me. My friend, there's a friend in Jesus that will never abhor you. And the Bible says, and they whom I loved are turned against me. My friend, there's a God who loves you, and he'll never turn against you. Friend, when all that you have is God, you have all that you need. The Bible says, for the hand of God has touched me. Job was telling his friends to have pity upon him. Have pity upon me. Have pity upon me, O ye my friends, for the hand of God has touched me. Job suffered. He hurt in his heart. He longed for his children. He longed for the things that he had lost. And my friends, when your friends turn against you, when you have nobody to comfort you in this trial, that's a shame. That's terror. To me, that's a terrible shame, because when we see people hurting like this, when we see people going through tragedy like this, we ought to seek to comfort them, to have pity upon them, to tell them it's going to be okay. You're going to see your children again, or whatever the case may be. You're going to be okay. You're going to get through this. This is just a passing of the time. This too shall pass. Job said to his friends, he said, if you were in my soul's stead, I would try to seek to comfort you. I would try to assuage your grief. That means to kind of make you feel better. He would find something nice to say. He would find something that would comfort your soul. And friends, his friends couldn't do that for him. For whatever reason, they turned against him. They abhorred him. The Bible says that they whom I loved are turned against me. Can you imagine the very people that you love are turned against you? He said that his breath was strange to his wife, though I entreated for the children's sake of mine own body. He said that his very breath was strange to his wife. His own wife had turned against him. In fact, she said to him in the book of Job chapter 2, she said, "Curse God and die. Why do you still retain your integrity?" And Job's response was this, that shall we receive at the hand of God good only, and shall not we receive good and evil? You know, he was saying, look, sometimes we get the good, sometimes we get the bad from the hand of God. And that's okay. God's in control. And he's going to, and Job basically was saying that he's going to trust God no matter what happened. He loved God and God loved him. And this was a trial that he went through. But Job understood that this was something that too would pass. But he was suffering. Look at the words Job spake in verse 23. Oh, that my words were now written. Oh, that they were printed in a book, that they were graven with an iron pen and lead in the rock forever. Friend, Job wished that his words would be written down and printed in a book forever. And guess what? He got his wish. This book that he has written in his memorial has endured the sands of time. They've endured thousands of years, and they've touched the lives of thousands, perhaps millions upon millions of people, because his life, his suffering was an encouragement to others. How many people in this world have gone through tragedy much like this? I remember telling you about this story about the family who perished in the flames, the 7 children. Okay, Job experienced a similar situation like this, where he had sons and daughters that perished in such a terrible tragedy that we could only say it was an assault of the devil himself, that the devil had purposely sought to destroy Job and his family. He sought to kill him. He sought to turn him away from God and to have him curse God, and he wanted to make Job blame God for this. And yet it was the devil who was behind it all. It was the devil who was the culprit. It was the evil one who wanted to destroy. And yet Job, through it all, trusted God. Friend, when all that you have is God, you have a great friend. When all that you have is God, you have all you need. You have more than what you need with God. You have restoration of the years that you've lost. You have restoration of the family and the friends that you lost. You have much hope in God. When you have God, you have more than what you need. You have the future in God's hands. You have the past and the healing of that past. You have all that you need. The Bible says, what time I am afraid, I will trust in thee. That's in Psalms chapter 56. You need to trust God when you're afraid. You need to trust God when you're going through these times. My friend, there is hope. There is hope. Do not lose that hope. And I hope that this message was an encouragement to you. God bless you. Stay tuned for Value of Truth. I'm Brian Price.